North had not yet assured their playoff spot going into their game Friday night against Denison. Not only do they get the win and clinch a playoff spot, they clinch a share. Ends up being a quarter of the District 13 4A title. 4 teams tied at 5-2. McKinney North, one of those, where they shared the district title. I'm joined by their head coach, Mike Fecci. And Coach, that was the last game at Munson Stadium. Obviously, Denison had a raucous crowd there, but you're able to come on the road again back-to-back weeks and pick up a huge victory.
Yeah, it was. Huge victory for our program, and I was real proud of our kids, how they handled the atmosphere there. It's different when you play there. We talked about that a little bit last week. It's an older stadium. The fans are right on top of you. Their fans are on your sideline. There's a lot of stuff that's different about it. But I thought our kids did a great job of handling the situation and coming out and getting a win.
We've got a lot to talk about. We'll get to the highlights first, though, of this game. And a lot of scoring. You won this game 49-37. And start off, getting, back and forth in the first quarter. Denison had an early score. You answered back. What was kind of the flow of this game early on?
Well, first half, it went by really quick. Both teams were running the football a lot, and we went into half with a pretty decent lead. And then the third quarter opened up, and the scoring kind of began. It was a back and forth deal, but we made plays. We got some turnovers when we needed to get them that were the difference in the game.
Ben Ducey had a big pass to Trey Smith on a 3rd and 4 that set up your first touchdown, which was a 10-yard run by Ronald Jones. Going into the second quarter, Denison took a 10-7 lead with about 3 minutes left to go, and then you started to establish Ronald Jones in this game, and you started to have the big play work effectively against this Denison defense.
Yeah, Ronald had another great night for us, and Denison did some things to slow him down some. Here's a great play by Justin Matabuke and Christian Gunner. Justin played really, really, really well. But they did some stuff with some 8 and 9-man fronts, to stop Ronald or slow Ronald down. But the thing about 8 and 9-man fronts is if we can get him into the second level of those things, he's generally going to go from there, and we were able to do that a few times.
Denison, every time they got close, you seemed to be able to stop their running attack. It's a different style of play than what you're usually accustomed to.
It is. We've caused a turnover down here. Abe Garcia recovers it. That was a big deal. Yeah, they are. They're very different in what they do. A lot like the team we're going to see this first round of the playoffs, Texas High. They do a very similar scheme. But here's one of Ronald's runs where he gets through and goes. But our kids did a great job of causing turnovers and playing good defensively.
That was a 69-yard touchdown run from Ronald. It was a 14-10 lead, and then you're able to cause another turnover right before the half.
Yeah, Justin Matabuke on the trap there, causes a turnover, and Gabe Ducey recovers it. That was huge for us to recover down there in our own end like that, and then, have our offense go out and on a big 3rd down right here. This is a great, you can't really see it, but a great move by Brendan Harris. He double moves that corner and actually makes him fall down for his first varsity touchdown of his career. So that was a big thing for him and for us.
And good to see Harris getting the scoreboard. Going to show that Rosa extra point right here as well to give you that 21-10 lead at half, show his kicking ability off. And then the 3rd quarter, Denison tried a little sneaky onside kick, and you were able to recover it and broke out another Ronald Jones touchdown.
Yeah, they came out and started second half and onside. We told our kids, we knew they were going to do it. They were kicking into the wind. They did not want to go down 3 scores on us. They kicked off. We got it, and then we went and scored the very first play. And then they went down and scored, and they did it again, and then they got it this time. They did it 3 or 4 times. They got it once, but I thought our kids did a great job of executing that. On the kickoff return phase to give us a short field.
In the second half, Denison pulled within 5 points a couple of times, but every time they got close, your offense just kept scoring, kept putting the pressure on Denison to answer back.
They did. That's a sign of a mature offense and an offense that's confident in what they're doing. This is a great, again, throw to Trey Smith, and he makes this guy miss, and then Trey Sanders blocking for him down the field for a touchdown. It was a big night from Trey Smith, Trey Sanders, Kervin Parks. Pretty much everybody across the board offensively had a great night.
You finished things off in the 4th quarter. They cut the lead to 5 with about 9 minutes left, and then a 3-play drive that Ben Ducey will sneak it in on and score to give you that 49-37 win. One guy on Denison that had some success was Khalil Brown, one of their running backs. He had 5 touchdowns, not a lot of yards, but when he gets in those short-to-go situations, he can punch it in.
Yeah, they get down inside the 5, and they were running a little power play with him, and he was kind of cutting it out the backside. And that's a tough deal because the guy that plays that for us sometimes was in man coverage. And so when you're in man coverage and you got to play a cutback, it's pretty difficult. But he had a good night. He's a good player.
Ronald Jones, after another 235-yard performance and 4 touchdowns, he is only a few yards shy of 2,000 for the season. Did you expect that coming in this year?
We knew he'd have a good year. We hoped he would. I think every high school kid shoots for that 2,000 mark. That's kind of the benchmark of benchmarks in 10 ball games. If you can rush for 2,000 yards and score 30 touchdowns, you've had a really, really good season. And he's a little short of that going after week 10. But then again, the thing I'm most proud about with Ronald is you look at the amount of carries that he's had. He has carried the ball significantly less than most of the other backs in the area, and I think he's the second leading rusher in the area, 4 and 5A, and he's got far fewer carries than a lot of people do, and that's by design. That's by design. We did that because we knew that we had to get Ronald to week 10 and then into week 11 healthy, and for him to go out and have the year that he's had, and for our offensive line to play like they've played. Is exciting, and it's a tribute to a lot of hard work and time put in when nobody was watching by those big guys up front. And, I'm very proud of them, and I'm proud of Ronald and happy for him.
4 teams in 13-4A finished 5-2 for the district season, all sharing the district title, including yourselves. The way it broke down the tiebreakers is Wiley had a slight edge over you thanks to head-to-head when it came down after several different stuff like that.
Right.
There's a lot of confusing stuff that went to that tiebreaker, but Wiley gets on the other side of the bracket. You now are matched up against Texarkana Texas High in the first round, a team that you say is very similar to Denison.
They're similar in scheme in regards to what they do, or offensively. Defensively, they're a 4-man front. They're gonna play base defense and run. They're very, very fast, extremely fast, to be honest with you, in the secondary. Extremely fast at receiver. They've got very fast running backs. They've got big kids. They're not real complicated. They don't come out there and try to do a bunch of different crazy things. They kind of do what they do, and they go play. And it's going to be a big challenge for us, but it's one that our kids are excited about. We've seen good people all year, and here's just another person in the way of what we want to go do, and that's how we're approaching it.
They're 9-1 on the year. Their only loss coming to 5A Tyler Lee. Tyler Lee did not make the postseason this year in 12-5A. But they, other than their district, played a team from Arkansas, a team from Louisiana. Right. Not necessarily a lot to compare, with teams in the area, in the Metroplex.
Sure.
With going up against them, that they're going to try to load the box against Ronald Jones. So it's going to be on Ben Ducey to create some plays, and he's answered all year long. Is there any added pressure on him for the playoffs?
Yeah, I think that there's added pressure on all of our kids because it's the playoffs. But our approach to it is we've been in the playoffs theoretically now for 2 weeks in a row, where we were in situations where we told our kids, we got to win. We got to win or we may not get to go. And so here we are. We're in it. We're excited. The playoffs are a fun atmosphere. They're a fun time. Our kids are real excited about it. They're real positive about it right now. They really are believing in each other right now. It's going to be a great atmosphere in Longview Friday night. It's a really neat place to play. We get to take a 3-hour bus trip, which is unheard of for us. We went to Denison the other night. It was an hour. And, you'd have thought we were driving to Canada or something, the way our kids were, when are we going to get there, kind of thing. And so it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But, I think the pressure's on everybody. But at the same time, it's also, we're going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy the ride while we're on it. And we're going to ride it as long as we want to ride it, is what I told them today.
Yeah, great place to play, Longview, that stadium. And you've really been in the situation already going into that game. It's, some teams when they go out to East Texas, for instance, a long bus ride and such, it can throw you off a little bit. But you've played now on the road back-to-back games and won, in playoff-type atmosphere. So this game against Texas High won't really phase your kids.
I hope not. I hope not. Our message to them this morning is you got to go handle all this as it comes. And we talk all the time in our program about keeping perspective, how important perspective is to keep, not only in football, but in your life. Things are never as good as they seem. Things are never as bad as they seem. They're always somewhere there in the middle. And, that's where we are right now, is keeping perspective, enjoying the ride that we're on, enjoying the week, enjoying everybody telling them in the hallways how great they are, but at the same time keeping perspective on what's important. What's important is what we do. That's having good practices, handling the bus ride, handling the whole atmosphere, and going out and playing.
And also looking at the other teams in your region in that bracket, you have a potential second-round opponent of either John Tyler or Mansfield Legacy, both solid teams. Highland Park is probably going to be the team that would await you in the third round. It's going to be a difficult bracket, this 4A Division
You
One.
think it's hard?
Yeah, I mean, it's the playoffs.
It
Everyone
is,
is
it
hard.
is, it is
and you
difficult.
certainly have, I think, a slightly harder road than Wiley
Yeah.
has. They've got a little bit, more favorable draw.
Right.
But you're going to know, if you get by these first 2 or 3 rounds, you're going to know that you deserved it.
Sure, absolutely. That's what I told our kids today is there's nobody in that bracket that's not a good football team, or they wouldn't be there. We got what we got. It is what it is, and we got Texas High, and that's all we care about right now is Texas High. And granted, are there some of the better teams in 4A in our bracket? Sure, they are. But it is what it is. It's Texas high school football. It's the playoffs. You never know what's going to happen. You go out each week and handle it and play. And I told our kids today, the people that don't play in the playoffs, or they end their road in the playoffs, are the ones that get tired of doing things right. That's really all it comes down to, is who can do things right and continually do them right day after day after day, and not ever get content, not ever get tired of doing it right. And that's our message to our kids. We're going to go out, we're going to play, we're going to let it all go and see what happens and enjoy the ride.
My last question for today is, obviously last year you were not in the playoffs last year. What's the biggest difference from last year to this year so far?
Oh, I think leadership was critical. We had good leadership last year, but we have great leadership this year. Belief in our kids, our program. We made a big point of emphasis in the offseason, learn how to believe in each other, to count on each other, to be accountable to each other. And because in those games like we had the other night, in the Wiley East game, in the Lovejoy game, those are games that you win because you have belief in each other. When your back's up against the wall, if you can look at your teammate across from you and know that he's going to do the best he can do for you, and you do the same for him, then anything can happen. And that's what we've got this year. We're very, very blessed to have that, and hopefully that'll benefit us Friday night in Longview.
I certainly hope that leadership leads to success in the playoffs. Coach, thanks
Appreciate
again for
it.
joining us, and good
Thanks.
luck in the
You
playoffs.
bet.
It's Texas High for McKinney North in the first round. It's going to be a 7:30 kickoff in Longview. Make sure you get out there early so you have enough time to buffer for that long trip to Longview. It's going to be a good test for McKinney North. Texas High's 9-1, 3 shutouts on the year, but they haven't faced the Bulldogs offense yet this year, so we'll see what happens.